For the last many years, Democrats have been shouting from the rooftops that President Trump is Putin's puppet, and he is going to do every single little thing that he says, and he has him on strings, and he's just controlling Trump at every turn. We heard it in the 2016 election, we heard it in the 2020 election, we heard it in the 2024 election, and we've heard it ever since. However, moments ago, President Trump just basically checkmated Vladimir Putin into accepting a ceasefire deal. A deal that's going to lead to more peace around the world. Something that Democrats have never had the guts to do. So we're going to get into this, but before we do, my name is Clayton Kearns from TrendingPolitics.com. Please, if you like this content, make sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video. It helps us out in a big way. So let's get right into the breaking news here. Trump has cut off Russian oil sales to the European Union. According to Eric Doherty, President Donald Trump ended the Biden policy, this is important, I'll get into in a second, that allowed sanctioned Russian banks to process EU payments for oil. This is a huge blow to Russia as they shy away from a temporary ceasefire and insist on a long-term settlement only. Okay, so I have a question. If Biden was the one who was always promising that he was going to be so tough on Russia, why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do this in 2022? Why didn't he do this in 2023? Why didn't he do this in 2024? Why did he not hit Russia where it hurts? Russia makes so much money from their oil sales to the EU, and Trump is hitting them where it hurts. Why did Biden never do it? Because he never had the guts to. David Giglio sums it up perfectly. He says Trump, also referred to by the illogical left as Putin's puppet, just delivered a devastating blow to the Kremlin by ending Biden's exemption that allowed Russia to continue selling oil to Europe. Putin's main stream of revenue has now been shut off. Putin must choose peace. And this was the report from Mark Thiessen. The Treasury has ended the Biden exemption that allowed sanctioned Russian banks to process European payments for oil sales. Now, no one in Europe can purchase Russian oil. And guess what happened just hours later? Putin thanks Trump for principles of ceasefire push, but does not say yes. So this headline is a little misleading because he basically is saying that he wants long-term peace. He's like, hey, a temporary ceasefire deal is not going to do anything for anyone, so let's focus on long-term peace, which is what everyone wants. So this is according to Fox News. In an address full of nuance, Vladimir Putin on Thursday thanked President Trump for his efforts to end the hostilities in Ukraine, but said he wanted lasting peace over a 30-day ceasefire. The idea itself is correct, and we certainly support it, Putin said in a carefully worded message. But there are issues that we need to discuss, and I think that we need to discuss it with our American colleagues and partners. We agree with the proposals to halt the fighting, but we proceed from the assumption that the ceasefire should lead to lasting peace and remove the root cause of the crisis. So let's hear from the man himself. Obviously, it's translated from Russian, but Nick Sordor here posts this quick summary. Says, Russia agrees with the temporary ceasefire after Trump and sent Rubio and Witkoff to help broker it. This is the art of deal in action, and countless lives will be saved. Putin thanked Trump for his efforts and says he wants to speak with Trump first before making it final. Let's watch this.
As for readiness of Ukraine for the ceasefire, I'll tell you my estimation of this. But first of all, I would like to thank the President of the United States for paying so much attention to regulating the conflict in Ukraine. Of course, we all have lots of current issues to deal with, and the chairman of China and the Prime Minister of India, heads of states of Brazil and South Africa, they are dealing with this issue and they're paying a lot of attention to this.
Isn't that interesting how he says, I thank President Trump for giving so much attention to this? Something that Biden wasn't doing, but also something that Biden was incapable doing, okay? He was basically a walking corpse by the time he left. I mean, he was pretty much a walking corpse ever since he stepped into the White House. But this is the difference. This is the Trump difference.
And we're grateful for this. And we're hoping that their activity, we understand that their activity is aimed at reducing loss of human life in the conflict. Secondly, we agree with the proposals for the ceasefire, but our position is based on the assumption that the ceasefire would lead to a long-term peace.
So that guy translating was obviously doing his best. When you're doing live translation, there's a lot to keep up with, and he was trying to summarize. But let's go ahead and just read the rest of this here. So he says, Putin was careful not directly to say no to the ceasefire deal agreed earlier this week, that Ukraine agreed to, but he also suggested there were too many variables to be discussed. And so obviously, guys, this is going to take a lot more negotiation. But he says, in these conditions, I believe it would be good for the Ukrainian side to secure a ceasefire for at least 30 days. We believe that our goal is a long-term peaceful normalization. We are striving for this. Our concerns are known. No one needs steps that imitate peaceful actions in this situation. And so why is Russia suddenly buckling? Why are they moving so quickly after President Trump has threatened or has cut off their oil? It's because there's great piece here by The Independent, even though they've been liberal at times over the years. At the end of the day, the Russian economy is on the brink of collapse, and Putin knows it. The Russian ruble has lost over half of its value in a decade, and inflation is rampant, with electricity up 250% and interest rates up 21%. As its citizens become increasingly impoverished, the key will be Putin's finances. And that is why this checkmate move by President Trump was so brilliant. You cut off his number one source of revenue, and they have no choice but to agree to what Trump wants. So I'm just going to read a part of this, and you're welcome to read the entire article at The Independent. It was just published today. But it says, how close is Russia's economy to collapse? As Donald Trump's negotiators open direct talks with the Kremlin, Kyiv's European allies hope that a final push on sanctions against Russia could be Ukraine's last and best hope for victory. Mr. Trump has warned that the U.S. could impose a devastating financial blow on Russia if Putin refuses to accept the ceasefire agreement. There are things you can do that wouldn't be pleasant in a financial sense. Of course, the Trump is hilarious. I can do things financially, he said in the Oval Office. So basically, after Europe imposed sanctions, inflation skyrocketed in Russia. Look at this. Rampant inflation, currently running over 9%. Interest rates over 21% and runaway price hikes. Last summer in Russia, the price of eggs jumped by 42%, bananas by 48%, tomatoes by 40%, potatoes by 25%. The Russian ruble has lost over half of its value since Putin first invaded Crimea in 2014, and over 600 billion of the Kremlin's foreign currency reserves have been frozen in Western banks. Guys, they are not in a good spot, and President Trump knows this. And whenever Trump has the leverage, he always gets what he wants. And the left and the Democrats, they never want to admit that he knows what he's doing, but he always knows what he's doing. Just like with the tariff situation, just like with everything else going on. Do you think that every single move is not 100% calculated by Trump? Because if you haven't figured that out by now, you haven't been paying enough attention. But I know if you're watching this video, you are paying attention. And by the way, if you're still watching, please hit that like button. It helps us out so much. Now, I covered this Glenn Beck video here in a video a few weeks ago, but I need to show you again because he perfectly lays out Trump's brilliant strategy with this entire negotiation. And Trump is doing this in a way to where everyone gets what they want. Now, if you've already watched this video, then by all means, feel free to click off the video, but make sure to subscribe before you leave. But if you haven't, trust me, your mind will be blown at the genius behind how President Trump is negotiating this deal. And I'm not going to interrupt this. This is 5.5 more minutes. You are free to go watch it on your own. I'm not going to interrupt it. However, you are going to want to watch every second of this because Glenn Beck hit it on the head here, and I could not say it any more perfectly. Let's watch it.
All right, I want to show you a chalkboard or a whiteboard here on the 3D or 4D chess that President Trump is playing. Nobody gets it. This guy is a genius, and the EU just shot themselves in the foot. It'll work to America's advantage, I think, but you could have been a winner too as well. Let me show you. What are Trump's goals? Because he is marking everything off. He promised, I did that. Some of his goals, End the never-ending wars. Put America first. Reduce spending. Reduce waste and corruption. Tech and AI, and box China. Make sure we're still a superpower. Okay. Let me just show you what he was doing and what he is doing with Putin and everybody else. He's offering a deal where Russia, because be honest, Russia lost. Okay, everybody knows that. Nobody's saying that, but it's true. Russia was supposed to be able to go in there for 2 weeks and take all of the Ukraine. Ukraine is not a NATO ally. Ukraine stopped them. Now, we helped, but it wasn't NATO, so you don't need that. Because really, if you can't beat Ukraine, you think you're going to beat Poland and all of NATO? That's ridiculous. Russia lost, but Trump is offering him a way to let him claim victory. He can claim victory. The war is over. Plus, money doesn't talk, it screams. We are after rare minerals. Rare minerals is going to do this for us. Tech AI, we cannot exist without rare minerals. 70 to 90% of them come from China now. They got a lock on rare minerals. You're not going to be the world leader if we don't have them. That's why Trump said, maybe Greenland should be the 51st state. No, they weren't interested. But if this falls apart, Greenland, look out, you could be the 51st state. He wants to box China. He wants to put America first, end the war, reduce spending. Okay, what he's doing is he's offering to buy the rare minerals in the Russian part of Ukraine. Putin's going to like that. It ends the war, and he can say he won because he's taking money now. It also, on our side, weakens the relationship between Russia and China. That relationship, China's not going to be for all of that. And we've made an enemy a frenemy. Putin, you can't trust him. But better to have a relationship like this than to be saying that we might going to go into nuclear war. Here's Ukraine. Let Zelensky claim victory because Russia lost. So he claims victory. He gets a secure Ukraine. Why? Not because we put boots on the ground.
This is huge.
Or he's become a NATO member, but because we want to buy his rare earth minerals as well.
Pay close attention.
So that will help them with money, rebuilding. We'll send people in. Companies will come in. They'll build the mines. They'll build everything. So Ukraine will make money. Russia will make money. We get rare earth minerals at a much cheaper level. And China is no longer involved at all. And it's, again, reduced our dependency on China. Also, it stops our money pipeline, which, reduce waste and corruption. Okay, the EU, you blew this, guys. It would have allowed you to let the EU claim victory. NATO did it. We won. We held him back. It would have stopped the war, restored their economy, secure their economy, and Europe, you'd be relevant again, okay? Nobody's afraid of you. Boots on the ground. What are the French just going to actually leave boots on the ground because nobody's going to... Idiots. So EU could have won as well. And here's what we get out of it. Tell me this is a problem for anybody. We are again a world leader by brain, not our military. No muscle in this. We're not coercing anyone. Everyone can win from this. You box China. You get the rare earth minerals. We're forward thinking for once. Less money to NATO. Europe is stronger. No war. America wins with no losers. Let's see. Reduce spending. Put America first. End the never-ending wars. Gee, yeah, Donald Trump's an idiot. This guy's a freaking genius, and this is the first time I've seen a president actually stand up for America first without hurting everyone else. We all win.
Guys, look, at the end of the day, I can't believe that we're here. Like, Trump is back in office. The fact that this type of strategy can be executed. And his brain he's so up here, right? He's always about the big picture, and he sees how all of these pieces work together and can fit together for a deal. You know, he might not be, like, for instance, during the debates, he might not be able to answer, you know, do certain fact checks like J.D. Vance can, or he might not be, I mean, he's eloquent in his own way, but he might not be able to orate and eloquate and be so eloquent with certain little factoids. But when it comes to the big picture, no human is more genius than Trump on this kind of stuff. And I'm just glad that we have him back in the White House, and it's going to be a glorious 4 years ahead of us. So I would bet big money that a full peace deal is going to be done here probably within the next 30 to 60 days, maybe sooner. There's obviously a lot of little things to work out, and you never know. Zelensky is kind of a loose cannon at times, but guys, great things are happening, and I cannot wait to update you next on this. So have a great rest of your day, and I'll be talking to you soon. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and please like this video. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you like what Trump is doing with these negotiations. I'll talk to you soon.